Okay. I just had problems in the past where the YouTube thing didn't work, and we would have been up a creek if I hadn't. So kind of nice to have a backup.
Up the creek. That makes me think of our case study that we have when
It's true.
wilderness.
Good to have some duct tape on hand, or equivalent.
Duck video.
Come here.
Cool. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Yeah, is there anyone who wants to say the prayer?
I can say it.
Cool.
Okay. Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day. We're thankful for the opportunity to have you able to meet as a group to be able to discuss the case we've been over this week. Please bless that we can be able to have thy Spirit with us to guide our discussion, help us apply things that we can learn. And we say this in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Cool. Is there anyone who feels well versed in the case?
You guys want to read my introduction?
Yeah, that's great.
All right, let me pull it up really quick.
Hey, Aaron, you're kind of faint. Is that just me, or do you guys hear him all right?
Oh, sorry. Let me pull up. I'm at screen my phone. I'll pull it up through Google really quick. Is that better?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. It's way better for me too. What was this case called again? Martha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ali.
That's right. Okay, I'll pull this up.
It's like Martha Rinaldi. Should she stay or should she go?
Yeah. Okay, so Martha Rinaldi, a recent MBA graduate, now made assistant product manager at Potomac Waters, was nominated. Her initial decision to join Potomac was due to their solid reputation in grooming and training of their new hires, as well as their perceived stability and national structure. Since her hiring, she's received continued inconsistent commands from her boss, Natalie Follett. The VP of Marketing was all about hiring recent MBA grads and helping them develop, as voiced above, yet she finds herself doing more secretarial work than actual marketing. She's feeling distraught and underutilized. Her performance is suffering due to Follett and Vaughn treating her like a subordinate. Now she finds herself singing the 1982 Clash hit song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? And really wondering what her true answer is.
Sounds good.
I like quoting music and those things.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, I guess just the main question, what do you guys think, like, what are the issues that are going on here? Like, when she went there, she decided to go with Potomac Waters as opposed to going with Deep Dive Pizza. We gave her the other, where she did her internship and got her offer from there. So what do you think? Like, I guess Aaron talked about she chose going there because of their reputation with their new hires and their national structure. So what's why has she come to this point where she has to decide whether she's going to stay or go?
Well, I think the case demonstrates that she's been victimized. I don't know that it's her fault so much. You know, she's got all these, you know, coworkers with problems, a manager with issues. They have a problem communicating. So from one perspective, she's a victim.
Yeah, I think that the main issue is that she's trying to further her career. She's just barely starting. She wants to make sure that she's successful, and whether she stays or goes is going to be a big determining factor in how her career plays out.
Yeah. I think like her idea of, you know, she's going in there. She had this great offer from one company, and they were totally solid behind her and everything. But they were more of a startup, so they didn't have that reputation or the credibility or stability, right? But I felt like she, almost in a sense of maybe she's just getting pushed around and not. Because I felt like the main, like the VP of marketing was all about, you know, this is why we're hiring people. This is why we're doing this. We want to bring in these MBA grads who know this experience or have this. Yet when she's in the position she's at now, that's not being transferred over at all, like the ownership of that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was thinking too. Is I feel like she's just being underutilized. I mean, whether she has a higher degree or not than her superiors, at the same time, it just seems like she's kind of been, like you're saying, pushed around a little bit. And I mean, she's making copies and just like doing the stuff that her superiors don't want to do. So it's not like she was hired on for a reason, and it just seems like she's not being, I don't know, her skills aren't being utilized. She's just one extra person to do all the crap that no one else wants to do.
Yeah, it's like she's doing secretary work, but the girl saved money for a year to be able to pay for her college. She like worked really hard to get to where she's at now. She went through the MBA school. You know, she did all this work, yet to be put in this position where it's like, oh, you're just like her secretary, which is not a bad thing, but like considering all she's gone through and all the skills she's learned, it's like, dude, use her to your advantage, you know?
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I think that's the one thing that was a huge positive for her at Deep Dive Pizza is it felt like she was very respected for what she did.
Yeah.
So I would assume that's probably a lot of what she's thinking is like, man, I felt a lot more valued at Deep Dive Pizza. Even after she turned them down, they said, like, there's still a position here for you if you want to come back.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that, I don't know, I guess she's treated almost the opposite of what she was expecting.
Yeah.
It's interesting that her current manager says that she needs to step it up, that she needs to be more proactive. I'm not sure what the word was. I think it's along those lines. And yet she's given a lot of little things to do. I think she needs more specifics in what exactly they want her to do, and you know how much freedom she has. She needs to know, you know, where she can fly, you know, how much flexibility she does have to do her own thing. And she just needs some clear marching orders, I think.
I feel like she has no ownership at all in her position.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the reasons for that is that it mentioned that Follett, her manager, used to be like a star. He did really good as an employee, and that's why they promoted her to be a manager. But maybe there was like a lack of training, or there was no training. And so her being put in that manager position, she just doesn't know how to deal to do in that position. And so, and I know as soon as Rinaldi came in, she said, you're labeled as one of these millennial people or as one of these, like, I don't know, one of those people that is impatient and just can't get, or just as an impatient person. And I think that, I don't know if it scared Rinaldi or I think it just hindered her from really being a star person because she didn't want to push her bounds because she knew that people were watching her or that Follett was going to get mad at her because she is labeled as this millennial impatient person. So I think just the main, I don't know about the main issue, but one of the biggest issues that Follett is just in helping Rinaldi reach her potential.
Focus on her love life.
Yeah, right. I thought that was kind of a weird thing that they like threw in there. There's like, there's a rumor that they're having an affair, and then they never talked about it again.
You know, it's interesting that this last week the professor brought up, you know, what would you do if people were talking negatively about people in the hallway? So I'm wondering if there might be a connection there. And we don't know for sure. And it's kind of that's slanderous, to talk like that. So I'm thinking, it could be true, but I think she needs to be careful, take it with a grain of salt.
Dude, he was on her desk, man, like really close. That'd be so uncomfortable as a coworker. You're like, okay.
I'd be worried being a new employee. Like, please don't sit on my desk. I don't want that.
I mean, maybe she should have just gone in and be like, hey, I had a question.
Yeah, found out pretty quick. All right. So, do you think that Rinaldi did anything? Do you think Martha or whatever? Do you think she did anything to get herself into the situation, or is it all kind of outside causes?
Yeah, I think she's got some issues.
Like what? Elaborate.
Let's see here. I think she's got a confidence issue. I mean, I'm going to read off part of what I submitted. I said in this last paper I submitted, the idea that Rinaldi's employment options are slim, I think it's self-perceived. She lacks more initiative in her thinking and confidence in herself and her education. It said that she went to one of the top 10 business schools. And I did some research on the economy in 2008 and what MBAs, their options were and how employed they were, what the unemployment rate was for them. And let's see here. Although the economy in 2008 was not ideal, the February 2008 Manhattan Review article actually indicated that MBA graduate hiring was up and their salaries increased during that time of low economic growth. That's from a Manhattan Review 2008 article. It was actually February, so if this is later in the year, I mean, things kind of might have changed a little bit, but in a 2012 Forbes article, speaking of 2008-2009 job market, it stated MBA degrees can be thought of as truly being recession-proof. So that was a 2012 article reflecting back on 2008-2009. And so apparently people with MBAs, especially I would imagine people from top 10, the top 10 MBA schools, I mean, she's got more job options than the pizza place in this place. I mean, she's going to be at the top of any hiring list. And, she might not get another job right away, but I think she needs to open her mind up and realize that, hey, maybe she's got more potential than these two options. So that's a thought.
That said, I think leaving would damage her reputation on a resume because I think a lot of companies look at how long you've been at certain places, and I totally agree with you. Like, she has tons of options, but just knowing, like, when someone leaves something after being there for just a couple months, it kind of like shows, they couldn't stick it out. That person's weaker. They didn't have the nerve to stay with the company. I feel like that's another issue. Is like, I feel like she went in confidently, but then Follett and Vaughn, just their treatment of her. I mean, people even in the hallway have said, like, this is unacceptable. Like, she's yelling at you, like, they're yelling at you, they're treating you really, really cruddy, and it's like, I feel like that's another issue because I felt like she was confident going in, but then she just kind of been thrown and pushed down and just kind of used like a toy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That definitely is something she'd want to consider. But if she goes and works for the pizza place, potential employers in the future are also going to see that she went to, some lower, I mean, it wasn't a nationally recognized outfit.
Yeah.
I might not have as much prestige as the one she has if she wants to move on to bigger and better things.
Totally.
So.
So, I mean, in the situation now, the situation like in the thick of it, when she was, when it was talking about how she was told to kind of suck it up and do her job and she needs to improve. And then at the same time, she's given crappy assignments. What should she do in that situation?
I thought some of her responses to the coworker she's sharing a desk with, I thought they were a little, I don't know, she could have been a little more tactful.
Okay.
But then I might be a little more pushover than her, maybe she needs to assert herself for this particular situation.
Yeah, I felt like she was a little bit prideful in her responses. I mean, I get that she has an MBA and that she's hired on in this position, but I feel like she still needs to listen and ask what she should be doing that is better. And I know she talked to Follett on several occasions, but confront her and see like what the issue is and tell her honestly how she's feeling, like she feels left out of the group, or she feels that she's not involved in the project that's going on, or that she doesn't feel valued by her or her employee. I think just dealing with that issue, because I think the issue is just the relationship between her and Follett. It's not really the company's bad by any means, because they're doing a lot of good things for these MBAs that are being hired on. But I think it's just the position that she's put in with the people that she's working with.
Do you think there's any way that, well, not necessarily any way, do you think it would be a good idea for her to reach out to, I mean, even to go over Follett's head and maybe reach up to, let's see, I can't remember who's above her. I've got, sorry, to Doug Berman or whatever, the group product manager. Do you think it would be a good idea for her to try and reach up above her supervisors to try and see if there's a way to resolve the situation?
Dude, my question is like for that, because I feel like I love hearing you guys because you're coming with different perspectives. Because I was like, man, she's got to like calm down and she got to stand up for herself because she's just getting pushed around. So you guys have great perspectives that I hadn't even thought about. But I feel like she really should, when Batista approached her, like her idea of loyalty, loyalty to them or loyalty to the company, because I feel like they're holding back the company's growth. They're just, the fact that they can't even put together a PowerPoint and just throwing these little things at her, it's like, dude, let her do the work, man. Because if Batista's all fired up about, helping them develop and helping the company grow, he sees this potential. If they're holding her back, like I guess my real question is, where do you go to the higher up without causing contention? Because they really are. I feel like whatever they're doing, they're not at all being productive, and I feel like she's ready to step in, but they're just shutting her down every time.
Rebecca, hey, don't come in. Okay, let's shut the door.
Batista even said, he's like, "Are you doing okay? How are things going with these two?" Like he looked concerned because she, like in the beginning, she was really, really great, and then all of a sudden closing up, probably because of the treatment she's been given, and she's not standing up to herself. Maybe, I don't know, but like that's my some thoughts I had.
With the organization and like kind of the culture in that organization that we see, that she can do personally to improve the situation, or does she either have to get out or hope that something changes? You know what I mean? Is her only option her getting out or someone else leaving?
Well, I think an option that Aaron brought up was to be more assertive and maybe, I don't know, consider communicating with higher ups. It's interesting how one of the higher ups actually came to her a couple times and was talking with some of the newer MBAs and asking them, what the problems were, and even addressing, asking her specifically why she wasn't as vocal as she had been in previous meetings. After a particular meeting, this higher up manager took her aside and asked her, and she didn't want to bring up any issues. She wanted to be loyal to her manager.
Which is,
and shouldn't she want to be loyal to her, her employer? And her employer isn't just her manager; it's these other managers who are higher up on the totem pole. I think she ought to say, "Hey, there's some conflicting communication. I'm getting mixed signals as to what needs to be done, and I'm not sure who I should be following here." She needs to maybe, if possible, get both of them together and just say, "Hey, who do I really need to be listening to here?" Because if it's I guess it was a privately owned company, so she needs to be loyal to whoever the owner is, and that's by finding out what her role and job is. She needs to be better communication. She needs to find out who she's really working for.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that I noticed. One of the problems that I wrote on my case study report, just talking about how there's not really any clear, like there's the graph or whatever of the organizational hierarchy and like who's superior or whatever, but it definitely didn't seem like that was
in place.
It didn't really like mean anything other than that's my boss. but everyone kind of worked in like one big group. So it was hard to see, I don't know, because Bautista or whatever, I mean, not that it's bad for him to walk around and talk to everyone, but he kind of seemed to give feedback. Like he gave feedback directly to Martha, and then after that, Follett, like when she was helping that one girl, I can't remember what her name.
Her friend from MBA school.
But
Yeah.
helping her friend that she went to school with, and then Follett was like, "Sorry, he should have just talked to me. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. We have to help each other out sometimes." And like, I don't know, it kind of makes me wonder if the communication between Martha and Follett, maybe that's not the only like instance of like problematic communication. Maybe it's company wide, and just that maybe they do have a policy stated that, you know what I mean, they go to each other's supervisors to get the word down. Because I think it'd be a lot less confusing for Martha if Follett came to her and said, "Hey, Bautista sent me an email, said he saw you doing this. He just wants to make sure, whatever." And she can kind of reassure her that he was concerned, but it's not a big deal. Just be careful, whatever. You know what I mean? Because she seemed super worried and confused when he said that. So I don't know. That to me was kind of a red flag. That maybe the problem isn't Follett, and maybe the problem isn't whatever that guy's name is. I can't remember his name.
Bautista or Vaughn.
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 That
Yeah.
guy sounds like a piece of work, man.
So like maybe they're not the only problem. Maybe it's just company culture that's how communication is dealt with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think at that point, Martha needs to. I mean, maybe her decision here to stay or go is, okay, can I work with this and can I live in this culture in this work environment and something I can handle and work in, or is it just not for me and do I need to get out because of that? So I wonder, I don't know, for me that was one of the big issues, was maybe this isn't just between the three of them, maybe this is organization wide.
The thing that threw me off was just like in the beginning, because I like what you had to say. I'm like, maybe there's something a bigger issue here. And because in the beginning, you know, Follett said, okay, you know, and go ask Vaughn if you need any questions. If you have any questions, he can help you out. But you report to me. Like she's like, but I'm your boss and I'm the final say. And like she said that, you know, 2 or 3 times maybe. But then slowly as things kept going on, Vaughn was like, I'm in charge and I do what I say. And then it's like I felt like that originally what she said the direction of control was, or change, and all of a sudden Vaughn's in charge of her, and she just didn't have. I felt like they kept changing things because originally she was told she'd report to Follett, but I felt like over time it was just like really mixed directions, you know.
It also seemed like there was a double standard there. Vaughn ran out of time on certain projects, and he'd hand things off, you know, these menial tasks to her to do, and then she would tell her superior, "Hey, you know, I don't have time to do all of these little things." And the superior said, "Well, if you're not going to have enough time, you have to do it anyway." And it's like, it's kind of a double standard, you know. Vaughn, he doesn't have enough time, and how come he's not doing it?
They're going on dates, that's why.
Yeah, that's probably the case, but maybe we shouldn't talk bad about that. That's hallway talk.
Yeah, I agree with that though. The double standard. I think that just kind of adds to the confusion of. It seemed like when she first, especially, I thought it was interesting too when she went in and did like their first, like they walked her through the company and she met a bunch of people and they kind of did the orientation. She talked about how like certain people, like the Doug Berman or whatever, he was super friendly and nice to her when she went there the first day. But then she saw him today and he was like, or like sometime he just like brushed past her, didn't say anything. And I think what was hard for her is it seemed like there was like this show that was put on when she came in for the orientation. It seemed that she was told a lot of things that didn't really happen. And I think she's still seeing it happen as she's working there. She can see like, you know, like what you guys are saying, that Follett would say she's in charge, but then in the end, it really didn't work out that way. And she was told something different in the end. And I just think that she was promised a lot of things and told a lot of things, and they didn't really deliver on a lot of them. Even just like culture and how people acted. I feel like everyone was super nice and happy is what it seemed when she did her orientation. And after that, it seemed like very, put your head down to your work, don't talk to anybody, obey your boss, whoever that may be. You know what I mean? don't know. I just think there was so many situations where, I don't know, if it were me, I would be very confused. You know what I mean? Is what's the company culture? What's appropriate here? Who's my boss? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just a lot of weird situations.
Yeah. Andy, what do you think, man? You always have.
I always what?
I want to hear what you have to say too, man.
I don't know. I mean, I agree with a lot of the stuff that you guys have been saying. I feel like the culture may have been misportrayed, and she may have been misled. I think that she obviously has a lot going for her. She went to that big prestigious school and stuff, and I think that she did have the two options that she could have made. And maybe now, obviously, in retrospect, she's looking at it and thinking, the pizza place could have been a better option. I think, in my opinion, it sounds like, I don't know, I'm kind of a bad guy to ask, because I'm more of like, stay small. I don't have any interest in getting involved in a big business. So, if an opportunity was presented to me, to go small, I'd probably take the smaller option, especially where they were pretty much begging her to come take the job. But I feel like in the long run, if she would have taken that job, she probably would have had way more experiences and way more, at the pizza place. She would have had way more experiences and way more opportunities for growth. And in the long run, I feel like it wouldn't have mattered. You've got your big prestigious place that she has her job at now, but what's she going to be able to say besides, yeah, I worked there. I pushed papers for these guys and ran faxes and got them coffee, and that's about it. I don't know. That was kind of my thinking of the case overall.
Josh, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I'm sorry, man. I didn't.
No, that's great. That's awesome. I agree with what you're saying.
Aaron's just trying to make me talk. I haven't talked yet today, so saw me falling asleep on my couch probably.
Well, no, it was like the awkward silence after I said something. I was waiting for Josh to be like, "Yeah, Aaron, that was a good thought, man."
No, I think those are some great points. I think I like how you say, even though she's at this prestigious company, that like maybe just having a name on your resume doesn't really mean anything. You didn't do anything there. If she's not growing or learning or having any kind of valuable experience there,
yeah,
she might not even be working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, bud.
Yep.
No, so I was up on campus Tuesday. I'm trying to get my resume kind of dialed in and stuff because I'm applying for internships, and the more I work on my resume, the more I realize I haven't had any actual good experience towards my degree, but it's interesting because the points that this, the kid up there that's helping me kind of dial in my resume, he's saying you can always kind of give your spiel, say what you were in charge of, because right now I'm doing an accounting major, but I'm a foreman for a construction company, and I don't really do too much accounting. Yeah, sure, I'll do bids and stuff, and that's about the most I work with numbers, but he was just kind of helping me to figure out exactly how to say what I do to make it apply to accounting or make it appealing to the people that I'm applying to this job for. And as I was reading this case, it kind of made me think about it, and that's why I said, her getting this job with this prestigious company, that's just a name on a resume, unless she can actually, how do you say I made copies for someone and make that look appealing, that's just what I'm getting at. It's kind of hard if she isn't actually getting any big way from this company, which I'm sure eventually down the road she probably would, but in this case it sounded like she'd been there for 3 months or however long it was, and she still hadn't really had any real responsibility that tied into her field.
And like I think with that too, she had that opportunity to work with. What was it? When they had that big presentation that she'd gotten all these things for, and like the VP of marketing had said, "Oh man, that was so good. I want to see more stuff like that." Like, she did awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, I mean, I feel like she's proven herself, and when she's put to work, she's been able to use her skills that she had developed. But I feel like then Vaughn, I obviously don't like them, but but I think like Vaughn and Paulette, after she does this, I mean, even the fact that they had that next presentation and they didn't give her any opportunity to speak up or talk, and then they didn't give her any of the credit, even though it sounded like she did most of the work on that. Kind of like, well, how are you going to help her progress? And I think, Weston, what you made a good point about, Follett too. Maybe she's not a good manager. Maybe she's just good at doing what she was doing. And when she's put in that managerial position, she doesn't know how to do anything except be the, what, have you guys read, what was it, the entrepreneurial, the E-Myth book? Have you guys read that?
Yeah.
It talks about the, how you have like the entrepreneur, the manager, and then there's one of the technician.
Technician, yeah.
Maybe she's just a technician kind of person, and maybe she just can't lead, and that's why she's been butchering it. And it sounds like she wasn't good for somebody else in the past too. That's what someone else had said. Like she did a really poor job training him too. So maybe I'll keep talking for 20 minutes. But
along those same lines, and also some of what Andy brought up was the fact that she came from I think probably a lower income family. She's the first person in her family to graduate. Her father ran a
hardware store.
Yes, a hardware store, and it could be that he was very successful. But if she was the first person in her family to graduate, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the amount of education, and income, there's there's correlation, and it could very well be that she came from a lower income family. It could be that she's not used to this bigger nationwide employer, a bigger job. It could be that she was more comfortable at the pizza place because it was a smaller operation. She had experience working for her dad doing paperwork, and if it's a smaller operation, it just might be more comfortable doing that. Another thing is, it was interesting. There were a lot of little points that were thrown in there that I thought were either irrelevant or there could be some connections. Like at this pizza place, it said there was only one female manager, and it could be she's never had a female manager before. It could be in her previous work she's never had to deal with a certain. Yeah, there could be some things from her childhood or growing up that could be recreating themselves. I mean, there's a lot of deep stuff that could be going on here, and it could be that she's not up for working under a woman.
She's a
manager.
sexist.
It could be that.
That's what it boils down.
That could be very. Yeah. It could be.
No, we're all guys in the Uber now.
I don't know. I found a quote by President Monson. Let's see if I can find this. If somebody else has something to say, I don't want to take our time looking for something, but here it is. President Monson, he quoted William James. This is in the first presidency issue, 2012. I think it was December. But he says, quoting William James, he's a pioneering American psychologist and philosopher. This guy stated, "The greatest revolution of our generation is the discovery that human beings, by changing their inner attitudes of their minds, can change the outer aspects of their lives." And it could be that she hasn't graduated, that maybe the school she went to and her experience really haven't gotten her to a point where she's comfortable in her current situation. And it's interesting, this William James, this American pioneer psychologist, he's a what's that?
He's a really
Can you hear
good guy. Yeah. No, I've read a lot from William James, but he has a lot of good quotes. He's probably one of the best American psychologists because he fuses religion and psychology together really well. So.
Well, I've been told by my aunt is what's it called? They're you get a clock and you flip it back and forth. You put people in a trance. What are those people called?
A witch doctor.
Yeah, witch doctor or maybe they're coming.
Hypnotist.
What's that? Hypnotherapy, if I understand right, and maybe one of you can correct me. I'm told that William James was a prominent hypnotherapist.
Oh, really?
No?
I don't know about that.
I have no clue. No
Okay.
idea.
That's crazy.
Well, I got a family member who's a hypnotherapist, and I brought this case to their attention. I said, "Hey, this," and they asked this hypnotherapist asked about this person's childhood and their growing up years, and years leading up to where she's at now. And apparently, a hypnotherapist, this William James is supposedly a hypnotherapist. In hypnotherapy, they will take you back, get you in a state where they can take you back to earlier periods in your life and have you get out of cycles. People go through cycles, and they recreate things over and over again in their lives. And there's a lot said about hypnotherapy. There's a lot of misconceptions, but and they don't usually put you in a trance where you're not there, but they get you in a comfortable state, and they try to help you get out of these loops you're put through. And it could be that she hasn't broke out of one of those. So anyway, I kind of went off on that, but
So just where we're at now, just with all the facts that we've talked about, then so I guess just down to the question of the case, should she stay or should she go? So kind of the two options that I was given as facilitator, there's an option to salvage the situation or to leave. So what do you guys think are some advantages and disadvantages of sticking it out and trying to fix the situation?
I'm opinionated, so someone else go.
I think
got
that
15 grand on the line. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you're good. I think that she would gain a lot of good research experience at the job that she is at right now, because I think that's the main reason she went there, is to gain that research experience, because that's what kind of caught her attention when she was going through her MBA program. And I think she just, yeah.
Sorry, Weston. No, you go. I just come to my mind. Sorry.
And I think she just needs to solve or try to solve the issues that she has with Follett and her other coworkers. And if she can, then I think it would be a great place for her to work, because it seems like it's just those two coworkers that are causing the problem for her not excelling in that job, because she has the skills. She's demonstrated them to other employees in the company. Even the VP of marketing has recognized her for what she's done. And I think it's just she needs to either be put in a different position in the company or just deal with the problems that she has with her manager and coworker in order to really progress in that company. And I think if she can figure out those problems and how to solve them, then she would do really well in that company. So I don't know. That's my thought. But
I was thinking, okay, gosh, what I have to ask. Yeah, Adam. This is so I forgot that for a second. Adam brought the $15,000. That's a lot of money to just, push aside for experience. But I think she has the right mindset of, we're caring more about her future and more about growth than she is about the current money, And I think that, in considering that it sounds like she comes from, not as well off to-do family, maybe lower income. If she's willing to put that aside, I think her mindset's in the right place. But I think what Weston said, I would stick it out. Whether that's and a VP recognizing that's kind of a big deal. Like VPs report directly to your CEO or the president of the company, or either that or a senior VP, and they're really high up of VPs. And the fact that he recognizes that, and it sounds like everyone else in the company loves her, like they accept her input, even the higher up directors and managers. It's just those two. So I try to stick it out and try to work things out. I think she's being too soft, though. I think she should stand up for herself. And
demand a $15,000 raise. That's what I'd do.
I've been with the company for 3 months. Give me my 50.
I think going back to what Andy was saying, it's not about just like being able to put a company on a resume. It's kind of like in the accounting world trying to strive for like a Big Four, but you can end up doing the same thing, making copies, getting coffee, all that stuff, and it doesn't really do anything other than a name. But if you can find a good small business that you can grow with, and I think that provides more experience. I think that she did kind of lack a confidence thing because she was going to be thrown into a position where